maybe if you could kind of describe the film a little bit in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, it's about a homegrown bunch of jihadis who can't make a cup of tea without smashing a window. They set off on a mission, and I guess it slowly goes off the rails.
Right.
That'd be a nutshell.
That is a nutshell indeed.
It's it doesn't seem like it would be the ideal subject for a comedy, but it was suggested by real life. You know, the real life examples that were ridiculous made me think, why am I laughing? I'm laughing in the wrong place. Oh no, hang on. There's a repeat pattern here. I'm laughing in the right place, and this is something that should be brought to people's attention. You can make this subject can be funny.
Big enough for you now, buddy? Am I blowing a dog in a ditch? Or am I Packy Rambo?
Could you describe a little bit about what went into the prep for the film? I've understood that.
Tons of fact gulping. I mean, trying to sort of understand, you know, to understand, you can say that's funny, but to understand the context within, if you want to portray such an event arising, you have to know exactly where you're coming from. You have to know exactly what the nature of sort of Islamic culture is in the place that you're describing in the film, and then how this tiny little offshoot could possibly thrive, what it means, and how that relates to the bigger community. So, you know, there was a lot of research, which I have to say was great fun to undertake, but it involved meeting all kinds of, I mean, pretty much no one was irrelevant. You know, you could meet any British Muslim, they'd tell you a story about, you know, going back to having a home back in Pakistan, or their uncles, or, you know, by degrees you get people telling stories about relatives who'd gone to training camp and been sent home because they were crying for their mum, or had taken a teddy bear because they were homesick, and these kind of things just started to add little details to the picture. And I did that for kind of 18 months before we really started writing in earnest.
A lot of the more outlandish aspects of the film, like Riz's character, like his family's incredibly supportive of the sort of jihad mission, the swallowing the SIM cards is another one. Are they as far-fetched as they seem, or did you actually find like things that were that ridiculous within your research?
Well, look, I don't think that the family support is ridiculous. It may seem like quite a hard one to swallow, but that's because you're trying to swallow it the wrong way round. You're starting with the big end.
Right.
But look, think of him as a soldier. Okay, forget all of the dissonance. Just think of him as a soldier with a supportive wife. It's not too crazy, right? Now that's why they can do that. That's why he, you know, his wife. Look, he thinks he's part of a resistance movement. He thinks that what needs to be done may be unfortunate, but is necessary. She agrees with him on that. Sadiq Khan, the head of the London bombers, in 2004 thought he was going off to fight in Afghanistan and thought he would die out there. So he sat in his sitting room with his daughter on his knee and made a video to camera and basically said, you're the best thing in my life, you and your mum are the best things in my life. I'd love to watch you learn to grow up and walk and talk, but I'm not going to see that. But you've got to understand that Daddy's doing the right thing, and I'm going to fight the good fight. You know, this kind of conversation. I'm paraphrasing, but that's a goodie. That's a goodie talking, right? That's not a guy who thinks he's evil.
Did you find trouble finding support for the film? I guess both in a financial sense and in just sort of people backing the idea of it.
If only you'd been there at the funding meetings, right? Because I mean, that's a very hard thing to say to somebody. At least if you've got the film, you can sort of demonstrate that. I think if it was going out to make controversy out of this subject, what would be the point? I mean, it is a controversial subject in itself. So the insight and the comic insight is going to be somewhere else. It's not going to be in saying this is an incendiary subject. It's going to be the opposite.
Yeah.
It's going to be subverting that knee-jerk reaction. But of course, the knee-jerk reaction is what you get from funders. They're out the door, most of them.
Yeah.
Before, once you've said it's about Muslims, they've all gone. And in fact, you know, you have annoying conversations where I said, look, I've spoken to a lot of Muslims. They say, yes, no sense of humour. And you say, are you seriously saying that there are 1.2 billion people on the planet who share this characteristic of having no sense of humour? Or are you being a bit ridiculous? Yeah. I did have a conversation with a man who was hiding in a cupboard from the rest of his board. In order to have a friendly conversation with me that they wouldn't hear. But I have to say we didn't end up getting money from that person.
Needless to say. Has the reception been good amongst Muslim audiences, do you know?
Yeah, in Britain, yes. Bizarrely, a lot of British Muslims see it as a positive portrayal. Not for the fact that they're terrorists, but I suppose for everything else, because they're so used to being portrayed in a stereotypical way that if they're portrayed as just normal, rather average, klutzy people, that's great.
Yeah.
So we've had good reaction from British Muslims, and I don't see why it shouldn't be the same here. I really shouldn't be saying this because I look like an arse, bigging myself up. But you know, surprised that we had such a strong sort of positive response from British Muslims, but also from people in security services at the other end, because they can see. I suppose if you've got it right, if you're saying something true, then you can both laugh at the joke.
Yeah, and I mean it doesn't vilify anybody, so it's not like.
It maybe moderately suggests that this may not ultimately be a good idea.
Yeah.
But of course, there's no shortage of vilification. But I think vilification that's the 7-second film. You can have a quick rant and then off.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Likewise.
This is to going out to all you Kufas, all you Jews and non-believers.
No, this is...
We are going to send. You are going to taste our wrath.
Special.
And you are. What?
You're talking to a curtain. It doesn't work.